right, Jody, we are back. We're back. Hey, good evening.
Surprise.
I know, man. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've done our podcast, our weekly video minutes, talking about some of the things we've got going on right now, and some of the things that we got coming up in the future. Man, this is the CSRN video minutes. So welcome everybody. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. Him, one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bay, and a few others that were in the same room, coming up with this idea of advocating for our community outside of politics, outside of religion. And in the next couple months, we're going to be coming up on year number 7.
Yeah.
Man, and it's awesome to be able to organize something in your own city. It's awesome to be able to take full control of what you built, all right, and have others that have come along and made it better, all right. And so this is what we do, and I have on my glasses from Optigo, Twix in between, my black hat. I've got a shirt that says "All lives can't matter until Black lives matter." So thanks, Sabrina, for letting me know where to get this shirt. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter, injustice or else. Man, Jody, I think that we got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So I think right. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you. If you could reintroduce yourself to everyone, because has it been a month?
Yeah.
Since we've done this.
That's why I actually want to do the whole Samuel L. Jackson surprise. You know, the explicit word, but you know.
Okay,
it's been a minute. But what's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth. I'm a brown-skinned, big baritone of a man that is covered in crystals and all kinds of stuff for those that are visually impaired and may not get a chance to meet us in person. The clothing I wear is non-descriptive, which means no corporations, no child labor companies like all your big Nike, Reebok, all that good stuff that you can see. Make sure you have a little swoop on you no matter what you do. The clothing I wear is basically what I could find at normal shopping adventures, Wranglers, which isn't too far off, but I'm not idolizing some image that this means I have more wealth than somebody else. The shirt that I'm wearing today is one of our lovely farmers in Toledo. You never see it because of all my chains. But Sonia Organics and Urban Holistic, shout out to you. Shout out to you too with Eden Gardens and making sure that we not only control what we put in our minds, but in our bodies, because you can't be healthy and just still taking in toxins and poisons and stuff like that.
And wasn't Sonya one of our Black Lives Matter Award recipients, the virtual? So we didn't have her here in person, but we did have her here. All right.
And you know what? We actually won our case. For most people that don't know, when you do that whole, we don't own the rights to this stuff, you can still get blocked. So I'll probably try and post it, but our virtual Black Lives Matter Awards was muted because
we had a DJ.
Yeah, because we had a DJ and music, you know, trying to do it like a real big award show, and our music got blocked. But I think the second week in August, they released their claim on it. So if you could go back to it, or if you want to look through our videos, you can see the entire award show as it was meant to be.
All right. And hey, listen, let's go ahead and segue right into the mission statement. And for you, why do you think it's important that we have a mission statement? And why do you think it's important that we share it each podcast with everyone?
Well, I think it's important because as I run multiple boards now, I'm just going to say this: quick things break quickly. So if you're just, I want you to hodgepodge and put things together. That's how we came apart. But eventually we felt that we were bigger than just the things we were marching for. So we had to leave some foundation and groundwork for when Brother Washington can't be here, or Ruth, or Julian, or Rosalind, or me, or anybody that's engaged with us over
Right.
this 7 years, to still have something to stand on. So it's not just about the protest or everything else. It's about your beliefs,
Right.
what you believe in, and things that can't be broken. So, and if you are starting an organization or a board, I would say that's definitely one of the top three things to nail down is a mission statement, because as things are going into more proposals, they want to know what your worth is. What your worth is your mission statement, what you bring to your community.
Right. And you know, before we crafted it, we were in kind of a limbo.
Yeah.
You know, I know I got a great sense of what Black people stand for. However, if you don't have that on paper so that everybody can somewhat be on the same message, it's easy to be co-opted too.
Yeah.
If you don't have it there, someone could easily slide through and say, no, you guys should be doing this, or you guys should be doing that.
People start reading sermons to you without even looking at the book.
Right. I don't know what that means, but it's true. It's true.
Very true. They won't have read the book or the Bible at all, and they'll just get up there on their podiums and start speaking. And maybe those people you shouldn't listen to. But either way, this is our mission statement.
All right, let's go.
We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable for their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
And before we go to our
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh,
see, you
that's
go right there,
right, man. But we haven't been here for a
I
minute.
know. So excuse us if we're a little rusty or stuff like that, or if you can't tune in because it's not I guess a cycle. You know,
Yeah.
cycle's been broken, but that's okay. We're back full time.
That's right. So for you, what do you say when people say, well, shouldn't all lives matter?
Is that the end of the statement?
That's the end
That's
of
the
the
end of the
statement.
statement. Oh wow. Yeah, for me, it's I've learned as I've gotten older and actually researched stuff on my own instead of other people's opinions and seeing it through the lives of everybody that I've met or touched. It would be a very nice thought. But if you are trying to marginalize somebody else in that very same statement, it's wrong. And mostly that is what the people who scream all lives matter or this, because there is somebody to them that does not matter. And you saying you matter just means you should be pushed down somewhere and shut up.
I think,
Spin it out. A little less eloquent.
right. But I think that's our sentiment behind why we do what we do, what Black Lives Matter means to us, and how we facilitate that. I want to read our guiding principles. That's one of the things that keeps us grounded. This came from the Movement for Black Lives convening. It was an event, workshop, conference in September, if I'm not mistaken. of 2015, right before Justice or Else. And they came up with some guiding principles. We've added something to it to fit our local, our local needs. And this is it. All Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
Means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe?
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe?
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principal struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing loving, direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of love. Self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. We must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe?
Ashe.
Before we take a quick break, I wanted to really add something about our guiding principle. That's what got us through 2015 to 2016. And I'm not just count every year off, but every year is a struggle.
Yep.
It's
new challenges.
Right, new challenges. How do we work more effectively with other groups? How do we share our resources effectively? How do we fundraise? How do we build relationships with other communities? Our guiding principle keeps us grounded, and it also keeps us from minimizing our impact.
Yeah, imploding it on ourselves. A lot of organizations wind up doing that, and for the new viewers and the people out there, so I've gotten a lot of comments on the past videos. What am I doing with my phone in my hand?
Oh, so, yeah, that's a good question.
This is how I'm reaching out. I have about 863 different groups. They're all in different genres, all in areas. So there's no button at any one point in time. No matter what I'm doing, I could just click on, because I can't decide for you what you want to consume as your nutrients or your what you watch. So I learned to be able to defer between everything. It's the same me every time, but if you're here for poetry, you don't want to know about this latest book I just wrote that's about whatever other subject besides poetry. So I'm appreciative in the career that I've been able to build multiple things, and this is how I'm reaching out to you. You may see it. The algorithms have changed, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I get blocked or not comment on a lot of things, but it doesn't mean I can't try.
Right. And just because someone may not comment doesn't mean that no one's seen it.
Oh yeah, somebody sees it.
All right.
We run our own page. That's another benefit of running our own page and our own organizations. We see the reactions. I mean, we may not be able to respond back in the time that you would like us to, but we do see it and we appreciate it very much.
All right. Hey, look, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a quick break. We've got Dr. P, the leadership coach, got a quick spot for her that we're going to share. So stay tuned. This is the CSRN, our weekly video minutes podcast.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
Hey, we are back. Hey, we left for a short time. We're back. This is the CSRN weekly video minutes, our weekly podcast, and we talk about some of the things that we've done in the past, things that we've got going on right now, and some things that we've got happening in the very near future. I want to take a couple steps back because I think at the end of August there was 4 or 5 meetings that the city of Toledo had planned regarding the Toledo recovery plan. And if I'm not mistaken, we attended each one.
Yep, we made just about everyone except for the virtual one. There was a virtual one for people, but time.
Right. And then afterward, if we could, we'd set up and talk about what we heard, not only from the city of Toledo, but also from a lot of residents that's kind of unsure, about what this money is going to be used for. Will our community benefit? Has it already been spent? All types of things. And there's a group of people right now that's forming, and I want to be a part of this, to kind of be a watch person. I don't want to say watchdog.
No, we are watchdogs. This is our money.
For every cent, they said that it was going to be used to help generate help in our community, that was going to help revive our community. Well, CSRN opted to be one of the fiduciary agents for this recovery plan, because it's oftentimes when politicians say that they're going to do something, most times that doesn't happen. But since we know who's involved in direct action and direct service, we know where that money could be used, much more than those who may not come into our community other than election time. So I'm still waiting to hear back from the city of Toledo to see if they want to engage us to be a part of that, dispersing the funds. Nothing's going to us, but we know who's really getting the work in regarding keeping our community safe, regarding our youth and children, sports, gardening. We know who's really making a difference in our community. And sometimes it may not be those big names that you often hear, like United Way, Boys and Girls Club, and some of those other agencies that are well put together. But there's some people on the ground floor doing some amazing things, and we believe they should be supported. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I took from the Toledo Recovery Plan meetings. For you, what were some of the things that you saw from the meetings that you attended, and what would you like to see happen as a result of the city of Toledo saying that they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do the other? How do you see yourself in CSRN being engaged in this process?
I mean, again, from that, it was a lot of the same that I've seen through politics, through trying to kind of figure out people. And yes, there's always some silver lining that necessarily doesn't go to the people, but for the most part, it is they cater or feature the people or ideas that you show up with. So a lot of people were like, well, these are a lot of the things that you're putting on the board for succession or for suggestions that we
Right.
already do or that we're already funding or that really doesn't need to be paid attention to because it's already in our previous bill. One thing I do want to say about this money, and as there's going to be essentially watchdogs and people counting every penny, is that it is not meant to be spent on things that were already supposed to be fixed within the city budget. So
Right.
this is not to put any additional money into fixing the streets because there's a budget for that. It's not to put money into nonprofit organizations that were friendly with certain people because there's a budget for that. Um, a lot of the ideas were, some of them new, but most of them were mostly the same thing: fix the streets, get better parks. What are we going to do about gun violence? Um, and then about the dilapidated buildings and stuff. And there's a catch-all for that, but that is not what it's for. The money is food, is to catch us up kind of with the rest of the world.
That's
like
right.
our infrastructure here, the ability to communicate with one another, the ability to find ways to improve on the things. Yes, you want to fix the streets of your neighborhood, but what facility do you have in that area that can actually call back? Because, and people probably not gonna like this, but I understand politicians or council members or city officials in the sense that I've done this work. So I know it's always just a blasting of you're wrong. And even if you do get that seat, you're always going to be the person wrong. You're literally taking the bullseye and putting it on your chest.
Right.
You want to help, but you can only listen to so many people. You can only talk to so many people. And a lot of people don't know, not necessarily the proper procedures to get to those people, but even how to say hello. Some people is just, they see one of their council people and they just start yelling and screaming. They may be out doing something. They're not going to be able to remember that, and people get mad. Or
I got to remember that next time I yell at them. All right.
and, I mean, it's interesting being on so many multiple lines, but it's true. So my takeaway from it was, one thing that I spoke about every meeting is have community co-opted hubs, because that's one thing we've kind of lost. I mean, I called them pro mafia because they gave us an offer we couldn't refuse. They said, let us do all this stuff. We got all this money. But at the end of it, we don't own nothing no more. Our parks, our buildings, our downtown is, we're not going to our board, the city, and finding answers. We're going to their board. And if they don't like something we do or how they do it or how we do it, they can say no. And there's absolutely nothing we can do about it because we gave them that land. So the idea behind a co-opted community center would be people who would take that sacrifice and say, hey, invest in this building here. And then now everybody can come and have meetings, because the north side doesn't look like the south side, the west side doesn't look like the east side. So you would have not necessarily community leaders, but people that could go to them and say, well, this street down on here, over here, is caving in. It's not caving in on the north side, but over here, the lady just pulled out of her driveway and fell through it. So how can we fix that immediately without going through the red tape of waiting on the next council meeting, waiting on the next forum?
A couple of things that I got out of it, and I'm big on supporting agencies and grassroots organizations that get no play, but they do a lot in the community. And one is Narcotics Anonymous, NA. There's a lot of people that belong to Narcotics Anonymous. However, a facility where people can go and attend their meetings and be able to meet up and gather, that's something that doesn't exist. And that's something that could add so much to our community, where you can have so many people that really want to change their lives. Where can they meet? And also, one of the things that I really want to be a part of is improving our mid-city sports leagues. There's some dedicated individuals that are coaching, volunteering. They have so many young people that they're in charge of. And having young people involved in sports, having young people involved in in team activities and just being active, that lowers a lot of things that could be potentially happening. So those who are part of mid city sports in our community are some of the unsung heroes. And there was a gentleman at one of the recovery plan meetings. I'm going to find him, and I want to lift him up so that everybody knows how many young people this person is touching. Because even though it's young men playing sports, those young men have families.
Yeah.
They have sisters and brothers that are benefiting from these young people doing something positive. So those are some of the things that I took, from it. Anything you think we missed?
Well, related to sports, I'm going to throw a curveball at you with the arts as well. I mean, as a kid, sports were okay, but I've kind of been this size my whole life, and everybody was like, you should go play football or do something where you have to physically beat up somebody. And that was fine for me in a sense, but it wasn't really helping because I enjoyed it.
Okay, all right.
But then you have the arts, which is kind of what I do now and what I'm involved in. And I can do the same thing in a way as make you change your focus or shift you to something else just with art, with my words, with something that I create. And I think that's something, I think it was kind of getting phased out when I was in school. I ain't gonna say how long, but when I was in school, it was getting phased out. It's kind of a renaissance now. We just had a Momentum Festival and everything, but to where that is another outlet outside of sports. I mean, again, I'd still do some sports if I needed to, if necessary, but I would rather create something that's going to live past the contract or a highlight clip.
And also, so shout out to the Arts Commission.
Yeah. Arts Commission, all of the people involved, not just with the Arts Commission, but the grassroots artists. One person I want to shout out is Nicola, who has the Colors Art Gallery, and Janine, which does a whole bunch of stuff. You can find her down at the Truth because they're not funded. Starving artists means so much more to me now than it did 6 years ago, but you don't get funding like most people do. And if you're not doing some type of cliche or thing that just gets attention, then it doesn't matter to people, but it does. It saves a lot of people's lives. I'm living proof of that right now.
Right. Now, two things that I saw within the last month or so. Momentum was just this, what is that? And I saw a lot of artists participating in a lot of things, but what is that? And why should people know about that?
So Momentum, again, the Voldemort year we don't speak about, kind of slowed the pace on things, but Momentum is a 3-day festival that encompasses many different arts and practices and a multi-genre of everything. It's a 3-day because you really can't do it in one day. So we had dancers, we had a special movie by the Sons of Toledo. Shout out to the cast and crew.
What is the Sons of Toledo? I saw that trending on my timeline.
Yep. So we premiered the first movie made in Toledo at Momentum, that festival, and it was about a group of barbers from the East Side.
What?
More on the East
They
Side.
got barbers on the East Side?
There's barbers on the East Side.
Okay.
But that came together to make a film talking about kind of what we deal with. How, and then I'm not giving any spoilers, but just to break it down about a young man who was either a chair owner, bar owner, barbershop owner, and his day is kind of abrupted by a loss, whether it be his family or not, and he has to come to the realization of
you're really not trying to give no spoilers at all.
No spoilers.
All
right. Again, when it gets on the Emmy circuit and Oscars, and me and a couple of the cast members have probably thought about following.
Oh, you were in it?
Yes, I was in it.
Okay, all right. Hey, look, I'm going to work for some spoilers, all right? I'm going to work for some spoilers. I'm just letting you know this, all right? But don't tell Jody.
So I was in the film, a couple cameos. I didn't have any speaking lines, but it was Toledo. Like, I'm going to be highlighting some clips up on my page when I do the Momentum movie. But everybody, Paula was in it. You had our local DJs. You had I'm trying to think who else was in it without giving away too much. But you had a lot of local people. You saw our streets, our news, our area. And we even shut down the high level bridge. First time it's ever been shut down to get a very impactful scene. So it's kind of what we do in the work. So essentially giving you the end of it, that he has to cut somebody's hair who, again, he may not know, but you see as that's happening and he goes to the funeral home and everything, there's a scene where the curtain is refilled, and it's not just this young man that's laying there, but there is rows of other young men that he didn't know he was going there to see, but he winds up still doing stuff. So it's very impactful. The two showings that I got to see, audience left out in tears and dead silence.
Wow.
So, but that's just one part of it. That was the film. There was dancers. There was music. There was a live graffiti painting. Shout out to all the local artists that were part of that I got to meet. I kind of know, like Contron and Chris Rodriguez, Marcy. Can't remember her last name. We worked on the thing. Your chapter awaits for the library.
Right.
Shout out to all of the volunteers. Dave. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to everybody that was a part in making sure it happened. Because again, with COVID and all that stuff, we know a lot of large gatherings are kind of beginning to get shut down.
Right.
So the fact that we were able to do it, there were dancers. Batila, she was there day 2 on stage.
Oh, okay.
So performing, and we had a.
So this was the Toledo thing. They didn't just bust in a whole bunch of actors.
Not a lot of actors. I mean, but there's always going to be people who's like, well, why did you hire that person? And I'm better. That's not what art's about. They found the best people for the job necessary. And I think that's something you learn. The reason why I'm here today is because I got a rejection letter, and I said it wouldn't let it stop me. When I was first applying to the Arts Commission for grants and stuff, they was like, where's your portfolio? And I'm like, but I need money to get a portfolio. So I turned that around and I made my portfolio out of the grants that I've won for them.
Ooh. Okay.
The Ode to the Zip Code in 2019, they had a walkthrough art gallery of things that were created. So for all of the Ode to the Zip Codes, and I got to see my name on there. I even got paid to perform the first day opening the ceremony. Shout out to Joni and Dan and Autumn and Della and anybody that I might have missed. I have the video of you guys live, and I'll be sharing that too. But it was nice, and I'm happy to be a part of it. Not just for the revenge factor, but for the fact that it opens eyes to the arts that's here. Because everybody thinks you have to go to someplace bigger like New York or California or Texas, and you don't. There's a lot of wonderful artists here and so many genres. I got a piece. The city I come from, that's about that. So don't let it discourage you if you weren't able to make it or a part of Momentum.
All right. Well, it looks like we took care of our art part of what we do. And we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back, and it's going to be all about politics. All right. We're going to talk about our mayoral forum, some other things that we got coming up. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekly video minute. Come right back.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, we're back. This is CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. Before we talk about art, we talked about the Toledo Recovery Plan, and some of the things that we really like to see come out of that. Hey, I want to shift now to politics. We've got two political things going on, really campaigns, races going on. One for mayor, one for city council. I think a lot of at-large seats, district seats that are up for grabs right now. On September 7th, we had our mayoral forum. So, in a really big shout out to Charmaine Ivy and Yan Scotland for showing up, for staying committed, and all of the other candidates that showed up also that that support what we do. And I thought that we did a great job of setting the stage for candidates to come in our community, and particularly the Doug. And we're so grateful for Reggie Williams and the board of the Frederick Douglass Community Center and the staff of the Frederick Douglass, that anytime we have an event, Jody, it's like red carpet treatment. It's like, what do you guys need? Whatever you need, let us know. We believe in supporting the Doug. We believe that if you have an event, you should book it at the Doug. The Doug needs our support, not only our likes and thumbs up, but it also needs our money too. You just can't run the Doug just off of the hopes and wishes of Black people.
It's the only community center in that area. And
right.
I know when we first started, there were a lot of people, and as treasurer, I get to hear a lot of stuff, but a lot of people that thought we were just getting it on the bro handshake. But no, we actually pay full service, if more, when we can, because that's how you keep your dollars in your community. That's how you show with your actions that you truly support, not just buy a t-shirt and then go spend your money downtown with people that don't even live in the state.
Okay. All right. Woo. Okay, it's getting hot here. So early August, we agreed that the Toledo Mayoral Forum was going to happen in September, and we sent out the invites to the mayor. We sent out invites to Cardi Finkbeiner. But the thing is, the people that showed up were the ones that really counted. So regardless what excuse the mayor and Cardi gave for not being there,
they've always chose not to show up where they'll get asked real questions.
Right. But it's our community. And when we call, you should come. If you don't come, you're already letting us know what you think, and we gave all of the notices well in advance. So again, shout out to Charmaine and Yan. And they had some really good discussion. At some point, it got heated, which is what we expect. You should be passionate about what to do. And it shouldn't just be some type of laid back, warmed over answers. So I thought that was successful. We had one of the best moderators that we could ever have in Dr. P, Dr. Patrice McClellan, who agreed to be our moderator. I want to really give a big shout out to Julian for forming the questions. Both he and Dr. P got together and formed the questions. And a big thanks to the audience for their questions. So that's what we do at CSRN. Is not only, yes, we could protest, yes, we could disrupt official government business, we could block the freeway, we can make it hard for the standard quo to be the standard quo. And we love our community, and this is what we do. But we could also call the local politicians to be asked the questions that our community, needs to be asked.
Yeah, not just, well, we're gonna keep dragging it on and fix it eventually. I don't know. I think also being able to sit in those rooms while those decisions are made has made me privy to see stuff most people aren't. But and one thing that is very undeniable is the primaries, which already happened. I still put together an album of that. But me and somebody else in the room get to see that firsthand, get to see how many people actually come out to vote, actually have opinions. And I appreciate not just my artistic arm or my activist arm or my political arm, because I am one of the central committee or precinct captain or elected official, just on the lower level than city. So I appreciate that, but I also appreciate being able to be an election official, to sit there at the table. Yes, it's a long time, it's an arduous task. You get asked so many questions, but it's nice because now I know what questions people come when they vote. Now I know how to help and make sure that your vote is secure. Like if you thought you didn't press the right button, I'm there to help you.
Right.
That's a lot.
Both you and somebody else, and I'm a voting location manager, meaning that I manage the site for the people that are sitting at the table. So being a part of the process is important, because soon we're going to have to run our own communities. So for anybody that says, well, I don't care about voting, well, you make a choice every day. You make a choice regardless of what you put on. You make choices when you go to the store. So you can't tell me that making choices doesn't matter or voting doesn't matter. You do it every day. Why not level up and do it on a greater scale? We're not telling you who to vote for.
Yeah.
Vote your conscience, but be a part of the process of how that happens. And I want to really call out, anyone that thinks they'd like to volunteer to be an election poll official.
Yeah, poll workers.
You can just contact the Board of Elections at whatever number that is. You got it on your phone, and say, hey, look, I want to be a part of this. Yes, there's a stipend, but what we really need is more people involved, and particularly younger people, younger than me, to be involved, maybe Jody's age and younger, to be involved in this. One of the critiques I've always had when I would vote, I would always complain because it's always older people.
Yeah.
It's always older people, and they're not moving fast. They're not thinking fast like I would want them to think. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe I just need to be a poll worker. Maybe I need to be an election official, and then ask some of us that are professionals, sharp-witted, sharp mind, and capable, man, you need to volunteer.
Take that time out of your day. And like you said, I think that throws a lot of people off too. When you say volunteer, most people think internship or it's free. You do get a stipend. This isn't just, oh, you're sitting down for 12 hours and that's the end of it. No, you do get paid appreciatively for the time that you were there.
Right.
But you also get on a list of people that they can trust. So like he said, it's mostly old people. I was probably the youngest person at my polling location, and there was some stuff that we just couldn't help. Like some people just didn't show up, maybe because of COVID, maybe because of age. But yeah, this is my third election season that I've been an official poll worker outside of being an official and all the other gobbledygook that comes with being Jody. But it was still nice. It was nice to see the screens removed and the thought behind it, because last year we were kind of rushing, trying to figure out all the new procedures. So this year we even changed how you enter to allow more accessibility to the handicap. I don't feel like that's the right word, but yes, mobility, whatever. The people that cannot walk, run, or need assistance. That's better. I don't like the word handicap.
We will come out to your car.
Yeah.
All right. We'll process your vote. and you would process your ballot, from, from, and it is revolutionary to be a part of the process, because there's going to be a time we may have to do this for ourselves. So let's practice on their system. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get our practice in, so when we have to do something for ourselves, we'll already know. And especially since there's so much being said about intimidating people from voting, voter, not trusting, and this and things like that. Well, be a part of the process.
Yeah, we had no legal observers this year
Right.
at all. So
be a part of the process to make sure no one is intimidated.
mm-hmm.
To make sure that there's nothing strange going on. Be a part of the process.
I do want to. So also, as we know, everything has changed with podcasts and stuff. We used to do, and we will probably get back to as soon as mandates, restrictions, all that stuff in public, in-person meetings. So here's a little taste of that. Carly Allen, he left a message on our thing, so I'm going to actually answer that right now.
Go ahead,
since we have the ability to. In your words, does your organization entertain representatives of issues based on campaigns who would like to come and talk?
The answer is absolutely. Okay, go ahead.
Like you said, absolutely.
Absolutely.
We are not bound by, that's what our mission statement is for, but we're not bound by, we don't endorse nobody, and we don't decide who can come and talk at our table. So he says, I'm with Charter Workers Union, but I'm working on the Charter Levy Issue 12. So if you would like to come, send us your information.
Right.
Again, right now we have to do it through live and Zoom and all that stuff, but we could probably still have you on as a guest if you would like to be on camera and speak about your issue.
Right, and all you're really doing is giving them, we call it awareness, being able to give information out to the people that may not know about that issue, may not know about that levy. How are the people impacted by it? What do the people get, if they do vote for it? And also we also have others that are online that may have some questions. Yep. Just leave, if they put it in the chat, we'll get back to them. All right, we'll get back to them. Send them the link for next week. Yep. All right, and be a part of the process. Oh, that leads us to our next, what we have next going on, and that is the CSRN City Council Forum.
Yep.
That's going to be October 19th. That's a Tuesday, October 19th, Frederick Douglass, 6 o'clock. Again, the Frederick Douglass stepped up to allow us to plan something a month out. Mm-hmm. And for grassroots organizations to plan things weeks in advance, hey, that's high praise. Or for us,
it takes a lot of work.
Right.
To be on any board, really, to try and plan something and know that this is what you want to see come to for your fruition.
So here's what we need from you, all right, out there. In order to have an event like this, there is a cost. What are some of the costs? Number one, to be able to rent the Dub, to be able to have staff there. So there's a crawler that's going across right now regarding our PayPal and regarding our Cash App. If you can find a way to help us make the the city council forum, possible, and help us absorb the costs, not have to absorb so much of the cost. And also you'd be able to, you support CSRN. So you can support us through our Cash App, CSRN 419, support us through our PayPal, CSRN 419. What's needed, we got to rent the Dub.
Yep. And as popular opinion, I'm the treasurer. Popular opinion, we're not funded by anybody, and we don't take funds from everybody. There have been plenty of things that have come through that I've seen the organization and I've hit deny, because you don't get that much control over us in a sense.
Right.
We are funded by the people, our communities, our neighborhoods,
Right.
and those that believe in us, not by slush funds or people that want to look nice on jets or fly around. Because I have a job, I do other stuff. I created my industry or businesses, so I would never ever even think of saying, hey, I'm a little low on something, or hey, I want to do this thing for people. Can I just dip into? No, because the things that we get are funded off the backs of those who have had crimes and injustices committed to them. We can't just say, well, you know, my shoes is like these. Brother Washington can tell you.
Right.
I've walked here, I've caught the bus, I've done a lot of stuff when I didn't have the funds, instead of just saying, yeah, you know, we got $5 in the account. Can I just get that to? You can't
Don't
do that.
work. Don't,
That's
right.
how all organizations fail.
And I'm glad that we have Jody. If we do have $20 in our account, we got $20 in our account.
Right.
All right. And also for the city council forum, we need sound.
Mm-hmm.
So we either need to make sure that we have sound, may have the DJ. Everyone's not committed to volunteering their stuff. So there's a cost to it. Let alone signage, to have the signs, to have the placards up. So when people come, they feel that, wow, they were really expecting us. It
Right.
says city council forum with today's date on it. It's
Not just a social media post and you get to the door, it says come in.
come in, right, written in magic marker. No, we believe our community deserves much, much more. So before we break, that's CSRN 419 for our Cash App, CSRN 419 for our PayPal. If you want, you can inbox Jody on his page. If you have a check, just put CSRN on it, and in the memo you can just put City Council Forum.
Yep.
That's how we do. That's how.
Cash App, so we
right.
can also, again, so just like when we were talking about the Toledo Recovery Plan, we're not just saying, well, we have this money and we're just going to spend it because, the kids over here need ice cream. That's not what that money's for. So if you do split it up like that, that's exactly where it goes. Like when we did our billboard,
right?
Bell Our Black Mamas. Again, I thank you for your question again. And before we go to commercial break, I've been seeing it online, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it about leaders and revolutionary people. They're not the ones that come up with all the ideas, but they do cultivate spaces, which is what we do here at CSRN, for ideas to be created. So it doesn't matter what organization you come from. That's why this seat is empty right here. You always have a seat at our table, whether we can meet you virtually or in person, because your opinions, your ideas are wealthy.
Wow, that was a nice thing about this. Right? Okay, all right. Hey, listen, when we come back, we're going to tie up some loose ends. We talked about Toledo Recovery Plan, keeping our communities safe, and we talked about our City Council Forum coming up October 19th. We're going to get Abby to make another, to make our flyer again. Awesome. She did an awesome job of doing that. So Abby, if you're watching this, hey, look, you're going to get a call tomorrow. And some of those people that have helped us in the past, you may get a call from us too. We need to make this happen. And also we need to make it look nice for our community. So stay tuned. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant, inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober-safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
Do you care? Do you care? Your life matters to me. Does my life matter to you? If your life matters to you, wear the mask for me. It could save you. Your life matters to me. Does my life matter to you? If your life matters to you, wear the mask for me. It could save you. Your life matters to me. Does my life matter to you? If your life matters to you, wear the mask for me. It could save you. Your life matters to me. Does my life matter to you? If your life matters to you, wear the mask for me. It could save you. Fall back and check yourself. Fall back and check yourself. Fall back and check yourself. Fall back and check yourself.
All right, we are back. Hey, that was Wasion Wellness and Center of Hope. Both of those organizations do great work in the community. One works with young people and families. Wasion Wellness works with adults regarding mental health and substance abuse. Go back to our, if you can easily rewatch this live, get those numbers. And if you could, we've got our hotline number. If we could put up our hotline number, because in 2020 and 2021, if you're not stressed, wait 5 minutes. It's a great chance you're going to be. And that's 885-712-4401. If you have any anxiety, depressed, struggling with addiction, that is our hotline number for people that are waiting for people like you to call that you can get help. And people do recover. Hey, thanks. All right. And also, we have our yard signs. All right. So if you go to our website, if you go to our website, and I stand on this, bro.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I stand.
Every time they take it out my yard, I put another one in.
We put another one in there. Go to our website, CSRN Toledo. Just put that in your search, and you can find our yard signs. We deliver. This is our Black Lives Matter sign. Go to our website, log in, pay for the sign, and myself or Jody will bring it to you.
We got T-shirts and keychains and all kinds of stuff too as well, if you would like to support in that way as well and have something to take home with you, guys. I know a moment ago we talked about donations and funding for stuff. Well, this is how we keep our coffers not having to ask every single event, how can you help us? Money. Right. So when you buy a sign, when you buy a button, that goes there until it's needed for an event like this.
Right. And it also allows us to attract high quality help. How else could we attract Dr. P if we haven't demonstrated some excellence? Dr. P, Dr. Tracy Perryman, man, I'm naming all the Dr. Gwen Wilson, Dr. Earl Murray, who was our elder for that day. Man, we attract high quality people like you, viewers. I sound like PBS, like viewers. High quality people like viewers like you. All right, and that's what we do. Yes, we do bring the heat. Yes, we had the Toledo accountability rally last year, 2020, May 30th. And if we could do it again, we'd do it again. Yeah. You know, we'd do it again.
Sometimes you have to open up wounds for them to heal.
and by your support for what we do, it's highly unlikely anybody can call us and tell us, hey, you guys shouldn't do that.
Right.
Or I think you guys need to tone it down. All right. Well, nobody can tell us.
We are an organization.
Right.
And
Right.
It doesn't matter who you're talking to at the time, as long as they're, official and they're
Right.
vetted and stuff. They speak for us because we speak for the community.
Right. And hey, listen, before we get to 5 minutes of heat, I wanted to shout out O'Shea Jones, our gold medalist, our Olympic medalist,
Yes.
and to be the third best in the world of a planet that has 7 billion people on it.
Yep.
And you number 3. All right.
Came from Toledo.
Look, that means that it's highly unlikely anybody could whoop you. All right. All right. Highly unlikely anybody could whoop you. If you got 2 other people, and really on a better day, she could have wiped up both of those. But that whole family of the Joneses, man, at Soul City Boxing, which is a Black Lives Matter recipient.
Yes,
You know, Soul City Boxing was our first Black Lives Matter awards. We awarded individuals in our community, and we gave each organization, if I'm not mistaken, maybe $400 or $500.
Yes.
And Soul City Boxing was one of those organizations that we scraped up the funds. I do what we call a shakedown, where I find all of our older people that could do better. All right, I'll knock on your door, ring your bell. Since they got that Ring doorbell, they can see it's me. And we need your support, especially the older people. It's a new movement now that don't necessarily need us to show up with suits and ties, telling people what to do. The young people already know. So we really don't need to be told what to do. I was going to say we, like I'm one of the young people. Well, I
think it's more of lead by example. I mean, if you want to see something done differently, you have to do it differently. You can't knock on the same doors with the same questions and expect a different response. And we've had our civil rights movement. We've even had the emergence of the BLM movement and other grassroots organizations that are getting 7-10 years old. So you have to think differently. You have to. One big thing I'm on when I'm ever doing a forum or any political thing, I want to know from probably the youngest person in the room, because they see things completely different than me. They see the problem that I'm trying to fix. They live it. So I can't just be, again, most things go to sports or you go to church or you do this. Well, what about that person that doesn't do? I'm a Buddhist. He is of a different religion.
What? I didn't know that. No, I'm Muslim. I'm a
we got Julian here. We can say Christian things, so we get that whole thing going. But in the end of the day, we're here to help people. So a lot of people get turned away by you saying that you have to go to church or like the suit and tie. I don't wear suit and ties. I wear my super suit. And
still get in the rooms that I think I have to wear my suit and tie in. How did he get in there first? But I love it. The movement of today is decentralized, meaning that there's not one person that controls everything. No one has to answer to the person on the 50th floor. Everybody in their community can make Black Lives Matter mean what it means for them. They can make justice or else mean what it means for them. They can make hands up, don't shoot, mean what it means for them. And nobody can tell you how to organize in the community that you love and you know. So that's why this movement is more inclusive and more successful than anything that I've experienced in my 30 years doing this type of work. This is different now because we don't have the same type of political and religious handlers that we've had before. So you've got different people that can express themselves different ways. You've got a deeper pool of a skill set to pull from. Lastly, we want to give a shout out to O'Shea Jones for being the third best in the world, meaning I don't think anybody in the city could whoop her. All right, pound for pound, it's not going to happen. Or anybody in the state. All right,
Yeah.
or anybody in
Country.
or any other country. Man, I want to meet her and just tell her, man, I need you to see my landlord. No,
But on the arts tip of that, I want to shout out Hunter Prey, who wrote a awesome poem for her that he, I think it was last week or week before last, that he presented to her, and tuning in the arts with, again, a sport.
Yeah.
So just like he did with baseball season. So
right.
Shout out to him too as well. Shout out to the Arts Commission and everybody involved, whether you like some of them, whether you don't. They are one of the only organizations here on that scale that can do a 3-day festival with hundreds of artists from all over the country, mainly here in Toledo, to get it done.
And
shout
the
out
big
to food banks.
Right, and the big thing, no one gets excluded.
Yeah, that's hard to say, but they try. They try more than others. I can't say not everybody gets excluded because, again, I'm there now because I got rejected. So I just kind of flipped that coin and said, well, let me show you something. Let me show you why you should invest in me. And it's taken some years and some stuff, and I don't apply it to everything. Also, while I'm thinking about it, because it just crossed my head, if you are in the Toledo area and you are an entrepreneur, a creator, an artist, or anything like that, you have until next Monday to apply for the next accelerator grant, which is $1,500, up to $1,500 to fund your dreams. I've won a couple, I've lost more, but still apply because it could be that camera, that keyboard, that computer you need. I think my last one that I got, I bought a printer for the first time, which I love the library, co-contracted with them and all that stuff, but I can't, during the pandemic, I couldn't get there. So one of their grants, one of their grants helped me to where I am now with the dream boxes and all this stuff. So take a chance on yourself. I know the signal wraps, I didn't get that, but a few of my friends did, and that made the world to them. So
that's awesome.
Go apply for the accelerator grant. You will probably see that on our page because it's not political or stuff. So I'll pop that on the page.
All right. And lastly, a shout out to Eden Garden, Sister Yvette Muhammad, and all of those that participate in Eden Garden every Sunday at 4 o'clock in the 300 block of Boston Place. If you get a chance, drive down, check out the garden. It's probably the only garden in the city with Black Lives Matter and defund the police signs right there. Beautiful garden. Check it out. And we say at the garden, growing your own food is like printing your own money. And you can grow where you are. You don't necessarily need acres and acres of land to grow food. You can grow where you are. So those are some shout outs, but I know what time it is. It's time for us to kind of put a wrap on this, Jody, and it's time for 5 minutes of heat. What is 5 minutes of heat, and what do you have for us today?
So when I was first coming and we were still meeting in libraries and in parks and stuff, Brother Washington had brought up something. I guess you could call it an emerging artist. It feels weird. Now I have so long under, like, for open mics, and I see people excited and stuff. Just plug, since we've seen each other and since I've gotten to do a 5 minutes of heat, I did not win, but a nomination is good enough. If you could say nominated for Grammys 14 times, didn't win one. I was nominated for the National Spoken Word Awards, the 5th annual in Chicago. Shout out to DeAndre Hawthorne for informing me, because it is, again, anonymous. I've never performed in Chicago. I've been there a couple of times, but somebody somewhere in the world or in Chicago, because there were quite a few Chicago artists. You can look on my page. I made a movie, an album out of it, but saw something that I did and decided to nominate me, so I can add that to my list of things that I didn't think I was going to do. I mean, being a nationally nominated artist is awesome, especially in the field of poetry, because it's not something people listen to a lot. So 5 minutes of heat came about because
Of doing things different. In the age group that I'm in, we normally close meetings out with hitting the gavel or just saying, see you guys later. And my root is in the arts. I was a part of managing a theater program for maybe 20 years, more than 20 years. And everything that I do, performance and aesthetics, is about it. And the idea to close the meeting out with some creative expression was a gamble. Either jam it or slam it. And Jody just happened to have a poem. Who would have thought? I thought that he just showed up for a protest, or I thought that he just cooked. I didn't know. Who would have thought? So we come up with 5 minutes of heat based on 5 minutes of funk from Houdini. So shout out to the rapper Jalil and Ecstasy for putting that in my mind. And here we are, 5 minutes of heat.
And also, since this is our first week, probably next week I'll be going back because before when we did leave you, there was a book that I'm in and a lot of local authors are a part of called Black Lives. Shout out to Joni. That was one of the accelerator grant recipients. She wanted to be able to publish her own book or build it, the bindings and stuff. That's what that paid for. But I'll be getting back to reading them today after coming in my first meeting, having a handful of poems, now 4 books, a whole bunch of awards, and thousands, literally thousands of poems later. This is one of my latest ones, published August 16th. It's called The Human Condition. So let's begin. Peace. Humans, the most technologically backwards advanced species on the round ball that is more like an oval spinning through space or whatever it is while floating in at different densities. Part 4. So who was it that decided we're the most intelligent species on the planet? Because I'm rather confused of how everything else can even somewhat grunt at itself and understand what it means, yet we, the bipedal, semi-hairless beings, are so technologically advanced, but all that advancement does is slow the purging we do to the planet as we exterminate every other life form we don't understand. I mean, it's really rather astounding, and probably everything else on the planet is just staring at us in amazement of why we can't get it before we try and bash in their heads and either eat them, sleep with them, domesticate them, or wear them. I do have to give us some credit, though, because we created our own religions, spiritual beliefs, and ideologies to make us feel superior to everything else on the planet, who seemingly understands the entire world from the moment they are born, capable of circumventing the globe without any technology or assistance, and survive through the mass slaughter that we have implemented on the rest of the planet. Somehow, managing to survive through the droughts, the floods, the forest fires, deforestation, urban, suburban, metro complex city building that leads to nothing but wasteland and more war. Speaking of which, we create the most deadly viruses, weapons, and destructive tools that we barely understand ourselves and leave them set upon the rest of the world, many of which are just leaching into the soil and groundwater that is slowly killing off everything else we can see. I always find myself baffled because even when I feel smart, I look at nature and feel so dumb. Like it took us this many generations to create something synthetic, but that already exists in nature, but we didn't make it. So now we're mad and we have to destroy it to make it our own. I know there has to be some redeemable factors, yes, factors in the human race. But every time I do find something that remotely looks good, I am reminded that we are either conserving or rebuilding something that we already destroyed. And it's only a matter of time until we run out of space and say, You know, we need that too. In peace.
Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. As always, join us every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Community Solidarity Response Network. What we're going to do now, we're going to close out with the Solidarity Pledge.
Good.
And what that is, it's a call and response that we made a contract with ourselves to love ourselves, our families, and our communities. And it starts out with me saying, I, your name,
Jody,
pledge to strive
pledge to strive
to love my brothers and my sisters
to love my brothers and my sisters
as I love myself.
as I love myself.
I,
Your
name,
Jay Summers,
pledge to strive
pledge to strive
to study to improve myself
to improve myself
spiritually,
spiritually,
mentally,
morally,
and physically
and physically
for the benefit of myself, my family, and my people. I, your name,
child of the system,
pledge to strive
to
be a part of the solution,
be a part of the solution,
the process, and not the problem. I, your name,
spoken truth,
pledge to strive
to
give all that I can spare of my time, my strength, and energy to achieve the above said. So now we can go out and be great.
Yeah.
And as always, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. And Black lives can't matter until all Black lives matter. Justice or else, peace.
Yay.